Bonjour à tous.
Hello, everybody. My name is Léonor de Roquefeuil. I would like to talk to you about how technology of the 21st century can change the way in which you and we as citizens, can be committed to society and politics today. So one of the greatest failings one of my greatest failings is my failure to be involved in politics. I am ashamed about it. And I don't like to talk about it, but as are not many of us, I think it's about time that I revealed my secret to you. We're in 2006. I'm a student in first year of political science studies in Bordeaux, aged 18. The student political movement starts to be created, called the CPE. And at this stage, I have no desire to be involved. Standing as a passionate person, disclaiming giving great speeches, I didn't know whether I necessarily saw myself like that. But for the first time in my life, I did start to do this, and I started to do this, and I was completely changed and radicalized, because I was totally changed by this crowd who arrived shouting, all aiming for the same objectives. I suddenly became alive as I've never been before. And very quickly, I lost interest. Why is that? Because by speaking with people around me, very soon I realized that nobody exactly knew what an initial contract for first job actually was all about. And I heard people disclaiming and decrying this action. Perhaps as political science students, we should better be able to help people to understand the law. Perhaps we should be able to decide and help other students on the campus understand what this law is all about and actually offer a constructive alternative. So I go to a general meeting on the campus, and perhaps this is no great thing for you, but for me, this was absolutely terrifying. After a moment, I said to myself, I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to speak. I'm going to take the microphone. Everybody's looking at me. Okay, just like now. And I suggest my idea. It's put to a vote. And I counted those votes, and out of over the 1,000 people who were there, only 32 people voted for my idea. So, total failure. And that was very determining for me, not only for me personally, because out of 1,000 potential people, I went down to 32, but also professionally. Because later on, this actually enabled me to be able to become the president of VOXE. So later on, 2012, French political presidential elections, and like you, I get in the post these flyers, rather sort of showy designs, but in fact they don't have much to say for themselves. But they're there to convince us in a few key points what each candidate will offer us a future that we're dreaming about. But in fact, the real programs that are being spoken about during the campaigns are these 60 to 70 pages for those who are interested. These programs have not really been made accessible to people. And I told you my secret. Let's be sincere. Who in this room read a political program from start to finish? Okay, don't worry about putting up your hand. Nobody reads them. And I can't blame you, because they're long, They're difficult to read, and they're not really very easy to understand. So we've tested this out on certain friends. In January 2012, got together with my friends, and there was heated debate. Who from Marine Le Pen, Nicolas de Sarkozy, is really offering help for immigrants to the borders, and what does that actually mean in reality? As a young person, as young people connected to internet, we all tried to look it up, and there were tons and tons of articles, press articles, fairly partisan in nature, plenty on internet, but nothing had an official tone to it. So there was one, of course, 60 or 70 pages of these official programs. You can get that, but do you want to download that onto a smartphone? So we realized there was a major problem. And that's when we said there must be a technological, simple solution in order to resolve and make this data much more accessible. A few days later, VOXE was born. So what is it exactly? We developed a tool that enabled us to develop, in a neutral way, a comparison of political candidates' programs during the election. And you can go onto this site. You select a country and an election. Select two candidates. A theme, and then you can compare them. And this site will always also give you contextual data, which enables you to understand exactly what these propositions entail. And then you say, but this is an enormous amount of work to put all this together. Yes, it is, but in fact, we work like a Wikipedia of elections. That is to say that any user can contribute. It can be citizens, journalists, candidates, or their teams. Everybody can enter the content and put it onto the line, put it onto the site. We verify this source, and then we will release it. So where are we with this today? This is a great success. We're currently available in 12 countries, 16 elections, very soon 18. We have ambassadors throughout the world who are developing our tool, who are working with local press, and are making more people aware locally about the elections. And however, despite the 3 million visitors, the 50,000 applications, the partnerships with international press and national and regional, this is not sufficient. It's not sufficient because of this. 7 French people out of 10 think that today democracy isn't working properly. 7 out of 10. In France. It's not me who's saying this. It is civic, which has produced this in December 2014. There's another, even more alarming figure. 9 out of 10 French think that today that politicians are not interested at all about the lives of the citizens. And you're going to say, but this is a totally lost cause. Nobody's going to ever believe me. And can you imagine that, yes, there are still people who persist, and some people still, 6 people, there are nonetheless 6 out of 10 people are still interested in public events and politics. So for those people who are interested, we have to give them hope. And how are we going to do this in order to help change all this so that we can develop politics for the 21st century? In order to find a solution to this problem, I went back to my situation of 2006. The problem there was twofold. First of all, lack of information, lack of an alternative to commitment. So this was go walk in a demonstration. That's all really one could do. And I thought perhaps there are institutions who do something, who do enable citizens to be involved. So I went onto the site of the Assemblée Nationale, the French Parliament. I don't know if you go onto it. It's an extremely dense site with interactivity that's a little bit limited. So sure, I could visit visit the whole building of the French Parliament. I could see the shops. I could see everything, looking left and right and all over. I eventually found somewhere that said, enter your contribution. I clicked on the button, and what did I find? I found this. Obviously, I don't expect you to do this, otherwise I'm going to find myself alone, aren't I? This is an example amongst several others. And what this means is that today, it is extremely urgent to think about an ambitious way of renovating an institution and the decision-making processes in order to encourage citizens to be involved actively. A few weeks ago, when I came out of a meeting, a minister said to me, "Don't wait to have it allowed, go for it." So I thought, I'll do what he says. And I'm lucky enough to be able to say to you today, for the first time, I can show you a mock-up of the project that we're working on. And it's called Newswatch. And in 3 stages, it enables citizens today to have an impact on politics. So the first stage is information. The second one is positioning. The third one is seeing concrete action. For example, I'm a nurse, so there are new laws on health. So I'm going to receive a map of everything. Who is involved? Who are the players? Who's my member of parliament? Are the private actors? Is there a member of parliament involved in creating a law? Are there private actors? Then I can position myself. Am I for, or am I against, or am I neutral? And then there are certain definite things that I can do. Petitions, go to a demonstration in my area, go to a public meeting on the subject, be involved in an association that is involved on the subject. Of course, this won't change things straight away, but you can start with little things to begin with. For example, do you know that today, for the next regional elections in 2015, December, three French cities, Paris, Bordeaux, and Marseille, are not allowed to elect. Can you believe it? But this is what's happening every year, every election. And it's the equivalent of the population, the combined population of these towns that is not actually on the electoral register. And because of this, they're depriving themselves of their right to vote. The lists have been reopened until the 30th of September. Are you on it? Check it out. So this isn't political hacking, I mean, this is not a big thing, just to be on the electoral register. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I am convinced that the best civic education is participation, active participation on the part of citizens. I hope I've given you a little insight to my political view of the 21st century. Sure, politicians aren't necessarily going to be listening to citizens straight away speaking here today. But sure, politicians aren't, and citizens aren't going to jump up and down for joy by saying, "Oh, I've got an application to speak to my member of parliament." But in France and in the world, a civic active space composed of members of the civic society and politicians can exist in order to change our view of democracy today. I do not think that technology is a solution to all our problems, but I'm sure that it can help us in order to get over this rupture between those who represent us and those who want to be represented. And I want to face this challenge wholeheartedly, and I hope on this occasion that you will be more than 32 people following us. Thank you very much. So don't you worry, I'm on the electoral register. So you're fairly modest, and you didn't tell us this, but I think I voted for Léonor de Roquefeuil because you're part of one of the Google Impact Challenge, one of the finalists. And what does this mean? Can you tell the audience today? And what are the challenges involved? I think you've got till the 8th of October to vote. So we've been chosen amongst the 10 finalists for the Google Impact Challenge. 10 finalists, the 10 associations in France who are changing the world thanks to technology. Today we've presented this idea of the application. We call it the Newswatch. If you like it and if you want to help us, if you want it to come out quickly, I would ask you and incite you to go to vote.voxe.org and vote for us, and this will enable us to win 150 million euros and to be able to get this application out next year. Thank you very much.